Hey there, Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley live with you here as we track some heavy weather on the way into tomorrow. It's a WFMY News 2 weather impact alert morning for Thursday. Reason being, we've got a pretty strong cold front on the way. There's going to be a good amount of rain, a good amount of wind, the possibility of a couple thunderstorms as well, and altogether, just kind of a wild stretch of weather for a couple of hours. Temperatures will be falling in a big way, going from the 70s to the 40s in just a matter of hours. And it's amazing to think that we're doing this right after big time record warmth. Thanks for joining us on WFMY Plus. We're going to go over the threats that are coming our way and get you up to speed so you are in the know on everything weather-wise here in the Triad. So let's track it together here. I'm going to start you out with basics. Here's kind of what we're tracking going into tomorrow and what you need to know. This is a strong cold front, as I said, and the main time frame for you to be watching things for Thursday is about 6 a.m. on the morning side through about 2 p.m. on the evening side. The main threats are gusty winds, but also really just some heavy driving rain, a low chance of thunderstorms, crashing temperatures. Those are the main deals that we're watching. So make sure before you're going about your day tomorrow, you have some warmer clothing. Cold weather's moving in, got to find that warmer clothing again. Don't be fooled by how warm it is early on. Also, driving about the area, you got to slow down. You know this. Ponding of water on the roads could be a big thing. And right now, this front is getting a little bit closer to us. So as we track it across the country, I can show it to you on the wide view here. We're getting into springtime. I'll take myself off the screen so you get a better view. We get these big systems from time to time, right? And they're getting more and more common. So right now, we're seeing a big cold front basically stretching from the Gulf all the way up toward New England. And so there's no escaping it for us. The closest point of this for our area right now, just across the border into Tennessee. So places like Nashville, they're seeing some rainfall right now. Tri-Cities area, they're getting some of this too. And this is, nothing severe for them. They're just seeing some regular old downpours. And this system has caused a lot of mayhem across the country over the last couple of days. But for our area, we look to be on the lucky side. I'll say the lucky side because the timing of this system is pretty favorable for us. We're going to be seeing it in the cooler part of the day, in the morning time. That always lowers the threat of thunderstorms. This is the precondition, though. Look how warm we are right now. It's in the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees, even at 9 o'clock. Consider this, our average high temperature is 60. So this is way above that, of course. On the wider view, you can see, though, that this warmth now is getting squeezed and limited. So it's down to 58 in Nashville. It's in 45 in Cincinnati. And so this is kind of limited now in scope. And by tomorrow morning, we'll still be on the warmer side of things, but not forever. Not forever. As far as who is under the gun right now, I already showed you the cold front. You'll probably notice there are a couple of warnings down here in Mississippi and Louisiana, severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. There's also a couple up here in New Jersey, near New York City. It's going to make some travel problems, big headaches at the airports. So those are some weather problems up that way. As far as the threat levels, well, they're in the right spots. You've got a little bullseye of a level 2 risk in the deep south. You've got another one up there in the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. Now, heading into tomorrow, the threat level for storms anyway is mostly south and east of us. And we'll explain the reasons why when I show you the maps. But the reason that the threat of thunderstorms will be higher south and east of us, that's where the front will be moving into when it's a little bit more daytime and a little bit more favorable for rising air. You can't get big bad thunderstorms if you don't have rising air. That's the key to it, and you want to have warmth and moisture to make that happen. For us, it'll be a little bit more difficult because of the time of day and the fact that colder air could be outrunning the system. I want to just reset my graphic really quickly so I have the latest information to show you together. What I'm going to do is set this to be current with the latest timing. But right now, we are looking at this system getting a little bit closer to us. What's amazing is that after today, we had a high temperature of 86 degrees. That's the warmest day on record this early in the season. That's kind of the amazing part about it. So let's take a look here as we work our way through the next couple of hours. We'll go hour by hour for you. So here's where we are right now. Temperatures in the upper 70s. And by midnight, consider, by midnight tonight, our high temperature for the day tomorrow is probably going to be 74 degrees. That's how warm we are. So that's what's happening at midnight. Now, as we work our way a little farther along, let's advance to about 3 a.m. There we are, still in the mid 70s, but what you're noticing, see out there in the foothills that wind is starting to shift around? That's a clue that the cold front's advancing and gaining some steam. Let's go a little farther. Here's about 5 a.m. there. Now you have the cold front in the picture. That northwest wind in Stokes County, Rockingham, Forsyth, Yadkin, that's the cooler air catching up to the warmer air. So there's your front. And the fact that the front gets here before the rain does, that eliminates our threat of severe weather, or at least it brings it really, 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 really low. Because when you have the cooler air getting here before the rain does, that makes it super hard for the air to rise from the ground. And that makes it a lot harder for damaging winds, tornadoes, hail, all those kind of bad things that you don't want to have. So by 9 o'clock in the morning, this thing has trended a little slower. I'll back it up again. Here's 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. The weather might not be that bad just yet. It'll be windy. It'll be getting cooler, but the heaviest rain does look to be a little delayed compared to what we thought a couple days ago. So this is 9 a.m. Now, that's some very heavy rain over the Mocksville area, over the Salisbury area, over Mount Airy. These are heavy showers, all right? So keep that in mind. As we get closer to 10 a.m., there you go. What has our temperature done? Remember, it's gone from 73 to 46, just like that, in the blink of an eye. So this is a total shift, a total pattern switch back from spring, even summerish, all the way back to winter. And that's where we're going with this heading into tomorrow. That's 10 o'clock. Here's 11 o'clock there. Notice we're down to 41 at that point. Oh my goodness. And then by noon, things get really nuts. What our model wants to do at noon, as it has temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s. It does want to switch us over to some wet snowflakes at that point. Now, I'm kind of chuckling as I tell this to you. Is it physically impossible for that to happen? No. Do I believe that we will see snow falling from the sky in the Triad tomorrow? No, I don't really. I don't really believe that. Typically, cold air chasing moisture just doesn't really work out. But never say never. We'll keep an eye on this. It might be fun if you saw it, but no one's having a snow day out of this. Here's 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. It's still doing it. So there's 2 o'clock. So basically, from noon through probably about 3 o'clock, we'll want to keep our eye on things. Yeah, who am I to say? We can get a laugh out of it anyway. If it happens, take a picture, save it for the scrapbooks. That would be pretty something. And then by the end of the day, so by about 3 and 4 o'clock out here, you've got some clearing, temperatures rebounding. So the western counties, you'll be bouncing back to around 50 by the afternoon, and farther off to the east, you'll be staying a little bit cooler because it takes longer to clear things out. But in any case, this is a crazy day of weather. There's no way around it. It's a crazy day of weather, and I do think it'll be kind of remarkable to see how it all plays out. So what are the main threats here? The main threats are gusty winds, heavy rain, you could hear some thunder. Shoot, maybe somebody mixes with a wet snowflake by the middle of the day. Probably not, but never say never here. We are looking at temperatures dropping dramatically. So by about 30 degrees from before sunrise to the afternoon. And then going into Friday, that's when we have to talk about the colder weather. So on Friday, we're on the cold side of that front. And that's when that real chill will start to settle in. Because this cold front, it slides by and then it leaves the colder air. So by Friday morning, we are talking about temperatures that are right around 32 degrees. And so this is, right around the level of a frost or a freeze across the area. Something to keep in mind. Going beyond that Friday afternoon looks fine. It'll be in the upper 50s with some sunshine. Overall, pretty comfortable. So a pretty nice finish to your Friday. But a couple more things to point out as far as tomorrow goes. We mentioned the rain. Let's take a look at the wind. So the wind was a pretty big factor in our day today. We had a lot of it. Let's take a look at what it looks like. Overnight tonight, staying pretty breezy. And then tomorrow, nothing terrible, but there could be a couple of higher gusts in some of those downpours, especially in our southern counties. So let's keep an eye on that together. Tomorrow morning, there could be some gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. And even through the afternoon, it'll stay pretty breezy. When you get big temperature changes like that, you tend to see some big wind shifts and wind gusts, and that's something that we'll want to keep an eye on. As far as rainfall potential, it's going to vary. Of course, whenever you have rainfall moving into an area, especially if there's anything convective or anything thunderstorm related to it, the totals vary from town to town. It's not unusual to see half an inch right up against 1 inch in different towns. But having said that, our models are fairly optimistic that we could get between half an inch and 3/4 of an inch of rainfall. I think 1 inch would probably be on the highest side of possibilities. So I think this model has a pretty good idea on where we're looking for tomorrow. Now let's take another little bit of a look here. This one a little bit lower, so you can see how things do vary. It's better to take an average rather than just one opinion. But I do think by about a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch is the rule for rain potential going into tomorrow. So summing it up for you, you're going to get some rain. The temperature's going to drop about 30 degrees throughout the day from the morning through the afternoon. In fact, it might get cold enough that a couple people see a few wet snowflakes mixing in on the back side of that. Isn't that something? And oh, by the way, you'll be right around 32 degrees by Friday morning, right after we just had the hottest temperature this early in the year that we've ever had. So there's a lot of weather intrigue with this. This is a big dramatic event. Parts of North Carolina today actually got into the 90s. Goldsboro got to 91, Kenansville, Greenville, Kinston, all these places. Fort Bragg, Elizabethtown, they got up to 90. Whiteville did too. A lot of big heat out there earlier today. So a very unusual weather pattern for us, a very strange couple of days, but interesting nonetheless. Our high was 86 in Greensboro. That is the hottest through this point of the year. So what I mean by that, if you look at all the weather records, all the weather history, only looking at March 11th and earlier, so today's date and earlier, what's the hottest temperature there's ever been? It's today. And it happened one more time as well, 1967. But in over 120 years, this has only happened twice. So it's pretty impressive. Now, where do we go after this? So we have this big cold front sliding in. The weekend will actually warm up a little bit. But going into next week, we've got another big weather maker too. A big dip in the jet stream here. And this is going to mean a lot of cold air. A lot of cold air diving into the east. And so by St. Patrick's Day, cold. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, looking cold. And we'll have some low temperatures right there in the 20s for a couple of days. And so this is something we're all going to have to watch for. And just know that, yes, we've been warm, but we're not in summer yet. We're not even in full-on middle spring yet. There are going to be these ups and downs, as you might expect. The outlook for temperatures does favor colder than average weather toward most of next week. So that's reflected in our forecast. And I'll show you the 7-day, and then I'll play back the futurecast before we let you go. So there's where we're going. Temperatures will be in the 60s when you wake up tomorrow morning, cooling into the 40s for the afternoon. A whole lot of rain, a good amount of wind, and yeah, there'll be that chance of maybe a snowflake by the afternoon. How about it? We'll be right around 60 on Friday, upper 60s for the weekend itself. Not looking too shabby. Next week, though, very cold. That'll be the real cold that you'll have to be dealing with for a couple of days, with highs in the 40s and lows in the 20s. There's a lot going on early next week. Here's a run back of the system. So here's the cold front. It gets closer to us by around 5 a.m. Starts to knock our temperatures back. We'll be in the 50s when it starts raining around 8 and 9 o'clock. Some heavy rain is likely between 10 o'clock and noon. And yeah, our model thinks it's going to snow. I don't really buy it, but that's what it thinks, so that's what I'm showing you. And it should be all done by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's the forecast. We've got a weather impact alert day for a reason tomorrow. I want you to be safe out there and make sure, just know you're going to be uncomfortable if you're not prepared. So be prepared with the wet weather gear, the cold weather gear, slow down on the roadways, and make sure you keep it with us for any updates. We'll have you fully covered live with a lot of updates, 4:30 a.m. through 10 a.m. and a little bit after throughout the day.